This is the barbell Romanian deadlift. It's very similar to the traditional barbell deadlift as it's a hip dominant movement. One of the main differences is that we're starting from the top position and we're lowering towards the floor as opposed to a traditional deadlift where you're picking the weight up off the floor. So what I want you to think about is hinging at the waist. And you don't have to go all the way down to the floor when you do this exercise. That's not the point. You obviously want to pick up the weight safely and then have your feet about hips distance apart with a slight bend in the knees. There is a variation called the stiff leg or straight leg deadlift where your legs are basically locked out. But in this case, we're talking about a traditional RDL. The knees are slightly bent, so very soft in the knees. Arms are going to stay straight, and then you're going to send your hips towards the wall behind you. You can think of one of two of these cues. You can either imagine pushing a button on the wall behind you with your butt, which is naturally going to send your butt behind you, or you can imagine that somebody has a rope attached to your hips. They're pulling on that rope gently to bring your hips behind you like this. You're going to hinge, keep your back nice and flat, and when you get to about the middle of your shins, you're going to drive through your feet, use your hips to stand up, and squeeze your glutes at the top. One of the biggest mistakes that people make here is that they try to lower the weight all the way down to the floor. So they try to touch the weights here, and most of the time, people don't have the flexibility in their legs to get that far. So what happens is, to get to the floor, they end up rounding their spine. Now, contrary to certain fitness myths, there's nothing inherently wrong with rounding your spine or training certain exercises with a rounded spine. But that's specific training, and in this case, we could be loading this exercise pretty heavily because a lot of people have the capacity to go pretty heavy on a Romanian deadlift. And if you're not training specifically to do a rounded spine exercise like a Jefferson curl, for example, and you mistakenly round your spine, it could lead to injury or pain or something similar. So you want to keep your back nice and flat. The target, as far as how far you lower down, is about the middle of your shins. So you're going to want to go below your knees, not all the way down to your ankles, about the middle of your shin. I'll show you one more time. I'll do a couple of reps in a row to give you a good example here. So you're going to stand up nice and tall, send your hips behind you, keep your arms straight, grab the bar, stand up nice and tall, knees slightly bent. You're going to send your hips towards the wall behind you while keeping the bar close to your body. You get about mid-shin, back flat, drag that bar back up to your body, back up your body, squeeze your glutes at the top. Same thing here, slight knee bend. Down and up. You may feel a good stretch in your hamstrings, a good stretch in your glutes. That's perfectly fine. Just keep those soft knees, send the hips back, keep your back flat, core engaged, drive through your feet to stand back up and squeeze your glutes at the top. This is the barbell Romanian deadlift.